Hare Krishna everyone, welcome back to Shravanam Diaries podcast. I'm your host Sulalita Devidasi and we are continuing to read Teachings of Lord Caitanya by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. Chapter 31, The Supreme Perfection. Although the associates of Radharani do not expect any personal attention from Kṛṣṇa, Radharani is so pleased with them that she arranges individual meetings between Kṛṣṇa and the damsels of Vraja. Indeed, Radharani tries to unite her associates with Kṛṣṇa by many transcendental maneuvers, and she takes more pleasure in these meetings than in her own meeting with Kṛṣṇa. When Kṛṣṇa sees that both Radharani and her associates are pleased by his association, he becomes more satisfied. Such loving reciprocation has nothing to do with material lust, although it resembles the material union between man and woman. Because of that similarity, such reciprocation is sometimes called, in transcendental language, transcendental lust, as confirmed in the Gautamiya Tantra. Lust means attachment to one's personal sense gratification, but as far as Radharani and her associates are concerned, they have no desire for personal sense gratification. They only want to satisfy Kṛṣṇa. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.31.19 in a verse spoken by the gopis among themselves. Yate sujata charanam vuruham staneshu bitakshanai priyadadhimahi karkasheshu tena tavimatasitad vyathatena kim svit kurpadibhir brahmatidhir bhavad ayushamna. Quote, My dear friend Kṛṣṇa, you are now roaming in the forest with your bare feet, which you sometimes keep on our breasts. When your feet are on our breasts, we think that our breasts are too hard for your soft feet. Now you are wandering in the forest and walking over rough stones, and we do not know how you are feeling. Since you are our life and soul, the displeasure you are undergoing in traveling over the rough stones is giving us great distress. Unquote. Such feelings expressed by the damsels of Vraja constitute the highest Kṛṣṇa-conscious emotions. Anyone who actually becomes captivated by Kṛṣṇa consciousness approaches this level of the gopis. There are 64 categories of regulative devotional service, the performance of which helps one rise to the gopis' stage of unconditional devotion. Affection for Kṛṣṇa on the level of the gopis is called ragatmika, spontaneous love. When one enters into a spontaneous loving affair with Kṛṣṇa, there is no need to follow the Vedic rules and regulations. There are various kinds of personal devotees of Lord Kṛṣṇa in the transcendental abode. For example, there are servants of Kṛṣṇa like Raktaka and Patraka, and friends of Kṛṣṇa like Sridama and Subal. There are also Krishna's parents, Nanda and Yashoda. All these personal devotees are engaged in his service according to their respective transcendental emotions. One who desires to enter into the supreme abode of Kṛṣṇa can take shelter of one of such transcendental servitors. Then, through the execution of loving service, one can ultimately attain transcendental affection for Kṛṣṇa, the highest goal. In other words, the devotee in this material world who executes loving service in pursuance of the activities of the eternal associates of Kṛṣṇa attains the same post when he is perfected. The sages known as the Shrutis, the personified Upanishads, also desired the post of the gopis, and they also followed in the footsteps of the gopis in order to attain that highest goal of life. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.87.23, where it is said that in general, sages control their mind and senses by practicing pranayama, control of the breathing process, and mystic yoga. Thus they try to merge into the Supreme Brahman. But this same goal is attained by atheists who deny the existence of God if they are killed by an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They also merge into the Brahman existence of the Supreme Lord. But the damsels of Vrindavan worship Sri Kṛṣṇa. Having been bitten by him just as a person is bitten by a snake, for Krishna's body is compared with the body of a snake. A snake's body is never straight, it is always curved. Similarly, Kṛṣṇa often stands in a three-curved posture, and he has bitten the gopis with transcendental love. The gopis are certainly better situated than all mystic yogis and others who desire to merge into the Supreme Brahman. Therefore, the sages known as the Shrutis followed in the footsteps of the damsels of Vraja in order to attain a similar position. One cannot attain that position simply by following the regulative principles. Rather, one must seriously follow the principles of the gopis. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.9.21, wherein it is stated that Lord Sri Kṛṣṇa, the son of Srimati Yashoda, is not easily available to those following the principles of mental speculation, but is very easily available to all kinds of living beings who follow the path of spontaneous devotional service. There are many pseudo-devotees claiming to belong to Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's sect who artificially dress themselves as the damsels of Vraja. This is not approved by advanced spiritualists or advanced students of devotional service. Such people dress the outward material body because they foolishly confuse the body with the soul. They are mistaken when they think that the spiritual bodies of Kṛṣṇa, Radharani, and their associates, the damsels of Vraja, are composed of material nature. One should know perfectly well that all such manifestations are expansions of the eternal bliss and knowledge in the transcendental world. They have nothing to do with these material bodies. Thus, the bodies, dresses, decorations, and activities of the damsels of Vrindavan do not belong to this material cosmic manifestation. The damsels of Vrindavan are not a subject for the attraction of those in the material world. They are the transcendental attractions for the all-attractive Kṛṣṇa. Because the Lord is all-attractive, he is called Kṛṣṇa. But the damsels of Vrindavan are attractive even to Kṛṣṇa. Therefore, they are not of this material world. If one wrongly thinks that the material body is as perfect as the spiritual body, and thus begins to worship Kṛṣṇa by imitating the damsels of Vrindavan, he becomes infested with Mayavada, impersonal philosophy. The impersonalists recommend a process of ahangrahopasana, by which one worships his own body as the supreme. Thinking in this way, such pseudo-transcendentalists dress themselves as the damsels of Vraja. Such activities are not acceptable in devotional service. Srila Jiva Goswami, the most authoritative acharya in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, has condemned these imitators. The process of transcendental realization is to follow in the footsteps of the associates of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, to think oneself a direct associate of the Supreme Lord is condemned. According to authorized Vaishnava principles, one should follow a particular devotee and not think of himself as Krishna's associate. In this way, Ramananda Raya explained that one should accept the mood of the damsels of Vraja. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is clearly said that one should accept the emotional activities of the associates of Kṛṣṇa, not imitate their dress. One should also always meditate upon the dealings between Radha and Kṛṣṇa in the transcendental world. One should think of Radha and Kṛṣṇa 24 hours a day and engage in their service within one's mind, not externally change one's dress. By adopting the mood of the associates and friends of Radharani and following in their footsteps, one can ultimately achieve the perfectional stage of being transferred to Goloka Vrindavan, the transcendental abode of Kṛṣṇa. By adopting this emotional mood of following in the footsteps of the gopis, one attains his siddha deha. This word indicates the pure spiritual body, which is beyond the senses, mind, and intelligence. The Siddha Deha is the purified soul who is just suitable to serve the Supreme Lord. No one can serve the Supreme Lord as his associate without being situated in his perfectly pure spiritual identity. That identity is completely free from all material contamination. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, a materially contaminated person transmigrates to another material body by material consciousness. At the time of death, he thinks materially and is therefore transferred to another material body. Similarly, one who at the time of death is situated in his pure spiritual identity thinks of the spiritual loving service rendered to the Supreme Lord and is transferred to the spiritual kingdom to enter into the association of Kṛṣṇa. In other words, the qualification for being transferred to the spiritual kingdom at the time of death is to think in one's spiritual identity of Kṛṣṇa and his associates. No one can contemplate the activities of the spiritual kingdom without being situated in his pure spiritual identity, Siddha Deha. Thus, Ramananda Raya said that without attaining one's Siddha Deha, one can neither become an associate of the damsels of Vraja nor render service directly to the personality of Godhead, Kṛṣṇa, and his eternal consort Radharani. In this regard, Ramananda Raya quoted a nice verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.47.60. Nayam Shriyon Gau Nitantarate Prasada Svaryoshitam Nalina Gandharucham Kutonya Rasotsavesya Bhujadanda Grihita Kanta Labdha Shisham Ya'u Dagad Vrajavallabhinam. Quote, neither the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, nor the damsels of the heavenly kingdom can attain the facilities of the damsels of Vrajabhumi, and what to speak of others. Unquote. Lord Chaitanya was very satisfied to hear these statements from Ramananda Raya, and he embraced him. Then both of them began to cry in the ecstasy of transcendental realization. Thus, the Lord and Ramananda Raya discussed the transcendental pastimes of Radha and Kṛṣṇa throughout the night, and in the morning they separated. Ramananda left to go to his place, and the Lord went to take his bath. At the time of separation, Ramananda fell at the feet of Lord Chaitanya and prayed, quote, "My dear Lord, you have come just to deliver me from this mire of nescience. Therefore I request that you remain here for at least 10 days to purify my mind of material contamination. There is no one else who can deliver such transcendental love of God." Unquote. The Lord replied, quote, "I have come to you to purify myself by hearing from you the transcendental pastimes of Radha and Kṛṣṇa. I am so fortunate, for you are the only teacher of such transcendental pastimes. I can find no one else in the world who has realized the transcendental, loving reciprocation between Radha and Kṛṣṇa. You are asking me to stay here for 10 days, but I wish to remain with you for the rest of my life. Please come to Jagannath Puri, my headquarters, and we will remain together for the rest of our lives. Thus, I can pass my remaining days in understanding Kṛṣṇa and Radha by your association." Unquote. Oh, this is just so beautiful. Can you believe this? Ramananda Rai saying, "Please remain here for 10 days," and the Lord replies, "I want to be with you for the rest of my life." This is just so beautiful. Hare Krishna. We have completed chapter number 31, the Supreme Perfection. And tomorrow we shall read the last chapter in this book, entitled Conclusion, chapter 32. So thank you so much for tuning in. Today the link to this book is in the description. Please check out our website shravanamdiaries.com, and we shall see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.